All right. Welcome back to another episode of Downloadable Content. We are SJ.
And Alex Herschel. And today we are going to talk a bit about Pokemon Violet.
Let's get right into it.
Herschel. Herschel. Herschel.
When's the last time we had you in person?
Episode was probably released in May, but I think it was probably April when it was actually recorded, because it would have been
Dang.
before this semester ended. So yeah, sometime in April.
It's like a few months ago.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Are you kind of glad to be back? Like, you know, back in your living situation, or?
That's a great question. This is something that I've thought about a lot. Right, like with my whole family being here, right? That's great. The apartment that we are in, you know, it's great to be back there and to have like all of our furniture, access to everything. Like, if something comes up that I wasn't expecting to need, it's like, oh, well, I didn't bring this, you know, across states for the summer, but it's there, right? And I have access to it, which is great. You know, it's great to be back at school, seeing friends from classes, back in the classroom, that front. And the next job that I'm taking on starts next week, but and I'm super excited for the opportunity. It's going to be great, but I mean, I'd be lying if I said that I'm as excited about it as what I was doing.
Yeah,
it's going to be pretty hard to top that. So besides that aspect, besides work, everything is great, and even with that, you know, I'm excited for what's coming up and some stuff in the works. So
Cool. Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, I am personally super happy to have you back.
Thank you.
I mean, I saw you a couple times at, you know, some family things, but, you know, it's been just over Zoom, which has been sad. Yeah. So it's good to have you back, man.
Yeah.
Well, before we kind of get into a quick little gaming update and all that stuff, we do have a question from our audience, so I will read that off real quick here. From our resident Twitch streamer Grapebird, he asks, if you were at a Comic-Con and you saw a guy dressed as a generic wizard, not any particular one, and he pointed his fingers at someone and shouted a random incantation, and that person exploded into either a puff of smoke or pile of ash, how many times would he have to do this before you were convinced that he was a real wizard who is actually killing people? That is such a specific question that I really hope that in the comments of this episode, he elaborates how that question came to him.
It makes me wonder, you know, what experience did you have that sparks such a question?
Why is this on your mind? Yeah, it's so specific, which is what I love that. Do you have a question or answer right off the bat to that?
Yeah, I think it would kind of depend, and let me explain that. Like, magic and like close-up shows and performances and stuff are like super high tech nowadays, right? Like, very, very impressive stuff. So like, all that to say, like, for me, it's like, but it's also like very mechanical and like the timing and stuff, right? Like, you have to be in the right spot at the right time in order to keep the illusions working, especially on a scale like this, right? Where you have multiple people and that kind of stuff. So I think for me, like, I would need to see it multiple times. And if it was on like a set schedule, it's like, oh, on the 15th in like 15-minute increments it's happening, I'm like, okay, that's kind of a sign that like, hey, this bro might not actually be a legit wizard. But if he were to like do it like back to back and in different locations around a venue, and you know, it would probably only take a couple times where I'd be like, okay, this guy is a serial mass murderer and we need to get the authorities involved as soon as possible.
Well, my first thought was like, if it was obvious that a person had died, so like if the incantation he cast just like split this person up into like, or literally just exploded this person and he saw like meat chunks flying everywhere,
right,
then it's like, okay, right away I'm gonna know. But he specified the person exploded into either a puff of smoke or pile of ash,
right?
So that's the part that makes it tricky to spot. I think as soon as I saw Because most of the time people are going there, with friends. A lot of people don't go there alone. There are some people that go alone, but they're there with people that they know. So as soon as I see maybe like two consecutive kills, I guess, where like the people around them start panicking, and then it's like realistic commotion happening, then I'd be like, oh crap, they're not in on it. This person's actually killing. But as I say that though, with like AI and I don't know, technology and all that stuff these days, I might think that it's fake actually. After two kills, I would probably still think it's staged and fake. But I don't know. I guess if I had just shook hands with that person, because my first thought was like, okay, this is like a fake human being. But if I had like interacted with that human being right before that person just got turned into smoke or ash, then I think I would be more inclined to be like, oh crap, he's like killing people right here because I just shook that guy's hand and now he's a pile of ash. So, I mean, we say that now, but hey, who knows how we would react and if that were actually happening. So please don't go around murdering people at Comic-Con.
Please.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
So from what I understand, you haven't played any video game since July. Is that right?
Right. So on July 4th, Liv and I played Mario Kart together. Not for the first time. We had been playing Mario Kart, and then
for the 4th.
Yeah, just because it was a day off, and we were trying to figure out how to fill some time because living in downtown LA, going out and doing stuff on the 4th of July is a little bit tricky unless you want to be touching hundreds and hundreds of unknown people.
Bumping shoulders with everybody.
So, so we played just to kind of fill some time and have some fun. Actually, that's not true, I guess. After coming back, Liv and I have had a couple sessions where we've been playing through Mario Wonder for the entirety of this year, and we'll do it in like an hour and a half burst, where we'll do it and then we'll wait like a month and then we'll play again and then we'll wait a month and then we'll play again. And so I guess I have played that, but
how far are you in that?
We are working our way through the 5th world. Liv's very adamant that we do every stage, make sure we get every coin. And every wonder seed. So
she's a coin person.
Sometimes we have to do a level 2 or 3 times, but
is it 3 coins like it is in other Marios? Okay,
cool. 3, and then some of them have multiple wonder seeds, some of them don't, and so you kind of fiddle around and explore and find them. But I mean, outside of that, like I really haven't played anything. It's kind of bad to be, a co-host on a gaming podcast.
Are you fit to run this? I mean,
but not actually playing. No, I think part of it is that like the transition from coming back, like there wasn't a whole lot of time in between, and in that time there were just other things that I was spending my time doing instead. Like I bought myself an electrical guitar as a congratulations to myself for wrapping up my internship, so I spent a lot of time on that. And then just trying to like get back into the swing of things. And anyway, so outside of that, I don't have any fun gaming updates to mention.
We should definitely do like a guitar / musical instrument kind of episode at some point, maybe for Patreon or something, because I want to ask more questions about that, but I feel like that would bleed too much into our main episode.
No, I think that would be a good, because I mean, I feel like not all the time our lovely Patreons, but there probably have been some episodes where you've been like, wow, they're pulling this idea out of nowhere. Because it can be hard to keep up coming up with content that we don't want to cover here within the main episodes, but still intriguing enough to make it worth your while. But I think that instrument one is a good fit. So next time we do Patreon, we can definitely try to remember that.
We do kind of do whatever we want to talk about or discuss or anything. Stuff that is like too random just often just get put on the Patreon, which I think can be fun.
But honestly, usually those episodes end up like shameless Patreon plug for you here. Our most recent one was a a home maintenance project that the SJ updated us on.
Honestly, it's probably the most boring thing we've put on there, but I was so proud of myself. I just like, I'm going to record some of this.
But before that, we did a color tier list. That's the most recent one on there. And like it came out in our we're kind of like, what do we do? But it's actually like pretty entertaining.
It was
like
kind of
having
fun
watched
to record,
it back,
actually.
like it's not. So sometimes those episodes end up doing well.
And the
anyway.
goat of tier list is a serial tier list.
The serial tier list is still arguably a top 3 episode we've ever made.
So funny, dude. I know. I know the one.
Go pay. Go watch it. It's beautiful.
Go check it out if you feel like it.
Also, sorry, I'm just noticing. Is this a new little bird desk toy? Not the block looking one. This other one.
So okay.
Because it looks quite a bit like.
I know.
Moroni.
Looks like my bird. It's a cockatiel, just like Moroni, but this one is just different color. Here, let me just show you for the camera. Oh gosh, I can't get it to focus. Yeah, I mean, you get the idea. It's a little cockatiel toy. So as you know, I used to work at a local financial institution, and I switched employers a couple months ago. And this was one of the birds that I like to keep at my desk. I like to just have birds at my desk. And this guy, when I was moving him into my box, his leg got amputated. Or foot. And I tried to super glue him back on, and it did work, but then as soon as I like put him down again, he would just crack. So I haven't known what to do with him, but I kind of like him, and I have a weird attachment to this one in particular because when I was on my my mission for a couple of years, this was one of the things that I collected with a companion of mine at the time. And so like there's some history behind this one particular little bird toy. So I just haven't really been able to get rid of it. So it's just
hanging out here with us instead.
Yeah, so it just sits right there.
Okay.
But yeah, so my gaming stuff.
There we go.
A little tangent, yeah. I finished playing Pokemon Violet, which we will be talking about shortly. I have some thoughts on that one. And I also started picking up Star Wars Battlefront 2, the new EA one, lately. I think I've mentioned this before. And I've just been, like, whenever I've had some friends that are available, we just hop on them, play a few rounds, you know, shooting some clankas, fighting for the Republic. That word came from Star Wars, the Clone Wars, okay? And it was never, ever like a super bad slur or anything like that. It was just like a, okay, I think I'm just going to stop talking because I might just dig myself into a bigger hole. But
this is like such a crazy thing. So I think this is the first time, arguably, like, in our lifetime, or at least where we're like aware enough of something in like the pop culture sphere that like is taking a word that's existed right for 15, 20 years.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And is becoming like closer and closer to like a potential
it's slur. Like kind of turning into like a taboo swear word kind of thing, but
yeah,
I kind of refuse to treat it as such because I think it's absurd.
Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, but anyway,
if I get canceled for saying clankas, that's like.
I love that it's always got to come out in the clone trooper accent, right?
Yeah,
it's always got to come out in the.
I mean,
the New Zealander Maori accents.
Yeah, well, and then people are twisting it. It's like, oh, you can't say it with the hard R, you know, and stuff. It's just like.
Anyway, Star Wars is fun.
It's fun. It's so much fun, dude. I mean, we've talked about this before. We played it. And I figured out that it runs really well on the Steam Deck, like perfectly. Even though it says like not compatible, you can just run it anyway and it just works. And it looks fantastic. It runs great.
Nice.
You can play multiplayer with it and everything. So I've been playing that here and there. And then my life is kind of starting to get pulled back into the thing that is space. Elite, dangerous. They released some new ships, and they dropped this new exploration ship that is so clean looking. It has such a nice jump range, which means how far you can, basically like how quickly you can traverse the Milky Way galaxy. And so they also had this thing where you can like explore and find new like alien like biological species and stuff. So like the other day I discovered some bacterium as they call it. Just these like patches of things on like some planets and stuff. It's like, it's realistic looking. That's the thing, It's very like low key, and they're also not everywhere. You really have to look for them because life is scarce, in the grand scheme of the Milky Way galaxy. So anyway, I've been having a lot of fun with that, and it is preventing me from finishing Jedi Survivor.
How far are you in Jedi Survivor?
I got to this one planet where I was getting frame drops like crazy because it's not well optimized on PC. And I think I just finished that planet. Had some shrubbery. It's kind of greenish. Sorry, I'm probably not helping at all.
Well, no, because
it's one of the early ones.
Because I was playing through it, and I've tried to like avoid narrative spoilers as much as I can, right? But like, as I hear about, so the way that I do it is like, oh, how many planets have I discovered, right? And I'm pretty sure that I'm at about like the halfway point of the game.
Okay,
but that's when I stopped.
Okay,
and
I'm pretty sure I'm behind you. Yeah.
It's like it's one of those things where it's like, it's really fun when you play it, but like there isn't like that drive of like, like this is consuming my life. Like it doesn't have that impact on me, and I don't know why. Because it fixed all of the problems that I had with the original. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them, right? I do think it's a very good game for what it is right now.
It's the Tears of the Kingdom of Jedi.
Yeah,
I think. But yeah, that's my struggle too. So that's actually, and I don't really like playing video games for the sake of completion only, because in my mind, video games, it's leisure time. You play it because you enjoy it, because you want to do the thing. It helps you wind down. I don't want to have to like hardcore lock in to do something, or like, manually motivate myself to play a game so that I finish it. That's why I'll never shame anyone for like not finishing a game. I think that's totally fine. If you just weren't drawn to it and you just saw another shiny video game, I think that's totally fine. But this one I really want to finish, and one of my friends told me that like the ending like had him tearing up, and it was like really, really good. And so that kind of gave me like an extra push of like, okay, I gotta do this. So yeah, I hope to finish it by the end of the year.
Nice. Any other gaming updates?
That's about it for me. Yeah.
One thing that I wanted to ask, it has nothing to do with actually playing games, but a YouTuber that I've kind of started watching, and I'm curious if you ever heard of him. Have you ever heard of I Am Rob?
No.
Okay. So I Am Rob is a YouTuber that does platinum trophy hunting, which I think is something that's so interesting, because it's not 100%ing a game sometimes, but sometimes it is. Sometimes it's more than 100%ing a game because you have to do everything, but then you have to do multiple playthroughs and all this stuff.
Kind of teasy stuff sometimes.
But he makes like these really, really entertaining videos of him unlocking every trophy and all this kind of stuff. And so I kind of went into a deep dive and watched a lot of his videos.
Mm.
But I was just curious to see if you'd ever heard of him.
So he's pretty good then, you'd recommend?
I would if you like...
Official shout out?
Yeah, I mean, there's like... He's like a big Star Wars guy, so his Star Wars episodes are really good. He really likes Batman, so he's got one on the Arkham trilogy. Mm-hmm. He got into The Witcher, so he did like a 2.5 hour video of his experience with The Witcher and all this stuff, which I've never played and have had limited interest in, but I think we've kind of talked about it before, where that series is just kind of outside of our wheelhouse for some of, you know, for a couple different reasons. If you check out old episodes if you want to hear more about that, but like watching other people experience it and hear their kind of perspectives on it is kind of interesting here and there. And so but no, yeah, I would recommend, if you have, I mean, you're gonna need to want to see weird trophy hunting, but the cool thing is that he tends to do it on the hardest difficulty available, so that like it like is an extra challenge for him,
even if it doesn't require it. Oh my gosh.
So like when he did his God of War ones, he did it on the highest difficulty, and he was like, it was like such a painful experience for some of it, but like he gets like this kind of twisted pleasure out of it at the same time because of like that sense of achievement and anything. Anyway,
dang dude. Well, one more thing actually, now that you brought that up, in terms of, you know, just media consumption in general, I did go watch a movie. I haven't been to a movie theater in a very long time, dude.
Okay.
I went to see a movie on Saturday.
Okay.
Can you guess what I watched?
No, I don't know.
K-pop Demon Hunters.
Ah.
Have you seen this movie?
Liv and I don't have access to Netflix right now, so no.
Okay.
And then we didn't go to the theaters because it was a sing-along. We were like, the first time we want to watch it, you know, kind of want to have like a standard experience with it. But I've only heard good things. The music's awesome. I hear the music on the radio and stuff. It's great. It's a good time. Oh, yeah. Dang. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I know we're prolonging this little prelude thing, but all I will say about it is one of the best movies I've seen in a very long time. Like, better than anything Pixar has done lately, in my opinion. And just great movie overall. You know, not even like as an animated movie, just like, it's fantastic. I completely underestimated it because I'm like, it's like a girl band thing, you know, it's K-pop. Like, I have zero interest in any of that. I was blown away. Yeah. So, check that out if you're interested. I'm sure I will talk more about that movie maybe at another point. Maybe after you've seen it if you get a chance. But, yeah. Okay, so Pokemon Violet.
Yeah. You finished it.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think?
Good.
Okay.
I like. Yeah, maybe while you get your questions prepared, let me grab the game so I can show you my team.
Well, I was going to say, there you go. There you have it. Thanks for watching another episode of Downloadable Content. But, no, so I do have a couple core questions that I tend to consider as like the important aspects for a Pokemon game specifically. Yes. And so there's a couple of things that kind of come to mind. And I guess what I can start with is something that I consider not to be the most important in a Pokemon game, but a nice touch if it's present. And this game handles it a little bit differently. Let's talk about story, because there are 3 kind of distinct paths or quests that you follow while you're playing through the game. And so, overall, what are your kind of opinions on the narrative, the different type of beats that they kind of went through?
So that's actually one of my problems with the game. Okay. So I think what it's trying to do is to give the player more of a reason to go out into the world, right? Because this one, they really focused on the quote-unquote open world aspect of it, more so than Sword and Shield. And I understand what they're going for. They want you to be able to have multiple things that you can do rather than just going around and beating gym leaders. And I can appreciate the effort. The problem is, So one of the paths, it's like, you have to defeat these like giant Pokemon. I thought it was kind of bland and boring. And it's kind of felt like, I don't know, doing a little solo Dynamax raid whenever I get to it. I guess I'm just kind of sick of giant Pokemon in general. Like, it's just not interesting to me. But it was fine. It was fine, and there were some like story beats along the way that went with that, that are kind of cute and okay. Um, but like I'm not trying to be like super nitpicky. That wasn't like the worst thing in the world. There's another one where you're going around and defeating members of Team Star and their leaders. That one I think was a little more fun, a little more unique, a little bit of different gameplay that they added to it. Decent challenge too. And then of course you have the gym leaders that you defeat. My main problem with it is that there's no level scaling. So by level scaling, I mean, for example, in Skyrim, if you go and defeat, this one boss or you do this one side quest, all of the difficulty of the enemies will be based on, one, obviously the base difficulty that you chose for the game, but also what the level of your character is, how strong you actually are. That way you can tackle any of them in any order because there's hundreds and hundreds of them. And you'll never run into an absolutely, unbeatable thing. And that's a topic for debate, because some people like being able to like see something that you're not going to be able to defeat and then having to come back to it later, that they find immersion in that, which I understand and respect too. But I think there's a good way to do both, either level scaling or not level scaling at all. The problem with not having level scaling in Pokemon, in this game in particular, is that I thought, because I didn't expect there to be level scaling, I tried to follow the path that the game was leading me to the entire time. Because I'm like, I don't want to be just mopping the floor with Pokemon for a couple of gym leaders later, because it's just boring. So I did that. And I was following, where I thought the game was trying to nudge me to go. Because usually with open world games, they give you some direction or recommendation as to what you should do first. The problem was I think 4 or 5 gyms in, I just got done with this one gym that was pretty challenging. It was really good. And I was like, oh, that was a good difficulty. I went on to the next one. It's 10 levels lower. I'm like, oh, great. So then I just swept the entire gym leader. I swept the next one again. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I didn't go in the right order. That explains why the gym leader I had fought 2 gyms before was a good challenge. It's because I was fighting something I wasn't quite, quote unquote, supposed to yet. It wasn't in the right order. So it made for a good, 45 minutes of my time pretty boring because as soon as I see the gym leader throw out the first Pokemon, I'm like, okay, great. I'm way overpowered for this thing. So I think that's the problem with Pokemon and being open world really altogether, is that I don't know how I think it just needs level scaling. I don't know a way of how you can not have level scaling and have it really be open world. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. No, and this is something that I think is a good fit where for the next generation, if they want to keep the open world, is a critique that they should take and implement. Because have you heard of Pokemon Generations?
It sounds familiar, but
so it's an anime that came out a couple years ago that was supposed to follow the storyline of Pokemon Red and Blue a bit more closely.
Okay.
And in that, there's a scene where when Red, the Pokemon trainer, goes to fight Brock asks him, "How many gym badges do you have?" And Red tells him, "Oh, you're my first one." And he says, okay, then I'll use these Pokemon, right? And that's where he brings out only the two that you fight. And that idea is existing in the Pokemon universe, where Pokemon gym leaders have a whole bunch of Pokemon, and they scale themselves based off of the trainer's experience, because they're not there to do their own thing, right? It would make no sense for a gym leader who's supposed to be one of the strongest trainers to always just use two Pokemon, whether that's coming, right? So the idea is already there, and it's something that I think could be easily implemented, where the game just tracks, okay, this is your first gym leader, this is their team, this is their levels, this is the move set, and then you just have to code in separate options. But at the end of the day, if you just make every gym leader, a full 6-person team, which they tend to already kind of do because of endgame like tournaments and other generations and stuff. I don't know if there's anything like that in here, but they've done that before, right? Where each gym leaders come back, or you've done rematches and they have these full level teams. It's like, just build that first and then, scale it down for each badge level so that you can kind of take them on whichever way.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because like they even account for that, like in the dialogue of the game. And what I mean by that is, after you defeat the champion or the head of the champions, and then you quote unquote like become a champion, you have a chance to go around and rematch all of the gym leaders. And when you do that and you go to these gym leaders, they'll say, oh, so now that you're champion, I really don't need to hold anything back. And then obviously their team is way, way stronger. So it's like, okay, where was your logic for that when I was fighting it for the first time? It's just, there's kind of a disconnect there. So, and I honestly think it's I don't know, time thing. Probably. I mean, I can't be the most difficult. Like I've played ROM hacks that have level scaling, you know what I mean? And it makes it really interesting because, certain gym leaders might be more difficult than others depending on the order that you tackle. And it can actually make like replaying the game more fun too, because you're like, oh, next time I'm going to go in this order to see what team this guy has if it's the last one I fight. So that was disappointing. But that's also what I was expecting. So I wasn't really let down, I guess.
Okay. One big thing for me in Pokemon games is music. Like, there's usually one or two standout tracks from each generation that I've played that I think about and I'm like, yes, this is that game. But as I've talked to people about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, there hasn't exactly been that sentiment from the general amount of people that I've talked to. So I'm just curious, when I ask, are there any specific music tracks that kind of come to mind as like, oh, this is the track of the game, right? That's something that'll kind of stick with you, or not so much?
Yeah, honestly, just the normal battle music for like a couple of the regions. It slaps so hard. They have this slap bass line in a lot of them, and it sounds so good. And the music was actually a highlight of this game for me, because I thought Sword and Shield music was, I don't know, not that great. Like, there are a couple of cool ones, like Beats theme was awesome.
There are ones that I remember, but I don't specifically remember them for being like great songs. It's just like, I heard this song a lot.
Right.
Like, I heard the Wild Area song a lot.
Right.
And so like I would be able to pick that up, but it's not because it's like a particularly entertaining song.
No,
right?
and the best ones from Sword and Shield are like just like some of the, the rivals and boss ones and stuff. But like the one you hear the most is when you run into a Pokemon in the overworld, and that's one of the most. Because of that, I think that's one of the most important implementations of music in Pokemon games. And Sword and Shield, oh my gosh, that standard battle theme. I did not like it. It was so repetitive. It wasn't even like cool sounding. I don't know. I did not like it at all. And I know that one of our listeners, Jordan, I know he feels the same way too. But anyway, the way they do it in this game, it's cool because so you have like the overworld music, and it's playing and it's playing, and if you go to a different region, it'll kind of transition into a different music for that particular region, right? And then wherever you are, when you run into a Pokemon, that overworld music transitions into battle music.
Okay.
So you're never replaying from the beginning of the song when you enter a battle.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it's not annoying because it's seamless. And the actual music itself is it's just good. It's good. So I loved it. I love the music in this game.
Now, you kind of talked about how the music's impacted by each region of the map. And so let's talk about the overall Paldea region as a whole. Because this is one of the topics of Pokemon that I feel like inordinately passionate about is region design.
Yeah.
As far as how you travel through it, cities that you go to, how it all kind of pieces together. And so we won't go through all 9 generations right now. Have we done that before? I feel like we have. Or is something that we talk about but haven't
discussion of like which ones are favorites. I think we
Okay.
talked about that, but yeah.
Okay, maybe that's another episode idea
That'd be
to put
kind of a
on
good
the,
one, yeah.
on the back burner. But, give me like a comparison of like region level, because you've played through all 9 generations now, right?
Yeah.
What general level of quality do you get out of the region itself?
I think it's better than Galar.
Okay.
It's hard for me to compare it with any of the other ones because it's open world.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's open world, like Sword and Shield, and in this game, or Sword and Shield kind of, I put that in its own different bracket because that in and of itself requires a completely different approach to how you design the world. So yeah, I mean, it's better than Galar in terms of how I compare it with the older ones. In terms of the regions, I don't really have any strong feelings about it. Sure. But I do like how it's designed. So as you go along one of the paths, you start to get, new abilities or upgrades in terms of how you can traverse. And that your traversing abilities kind of acts as a soft barrier to going into certain areas and regions. So that gives you that soft push towards a certain direction, which I liked. It felt natural. It didn't feel, you're not running into a wall and saying, oh, you can't go over here yet. It's just, oh, like I literally can't climb this wall, so I'm gonna go the other way. And then eventually, you get, I can't cross this river because if I go into the river, I start like drowning and then it respawns me. And eventually you get the ability to swim on water and then climb walls, and you can glide later on and stuff. And then the whole world opens up. So that was very organic and I think designed pretty well. Okay. And then it's kind of cool because, especially once I got the ability to like climb up walls, which I didn't even know was a thing. It kind of made me wonder, like, oh yeah, there was that like area at the start where I kind of want to see what's at the top of that plateau. So then I kind of go back and check it out and stuff. So I think it's designed pretty well in that aspect.
All right. And you kind of brought up some traversal and movement in that way, and so I kind of want to shift into the gameplay portion of things. And you kind of already talked about movement and how some of the open world changes some things, but recently, ever since Gen 6 with Mega Evolution, each generation's had their own gimmick. And here within Scarlet and Violet, we've got terrestrialization. Is that how that's pronounced?
Yeah.
Walk me through it, compared to the other gimmicks.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of it, because I know that some people are very, very high on it. Some people are less so. Some people are just kind of over the gimmicks in general. Mm-hmm. Just kind of curious to see where you land on that spectrum.
So I think most people can agree that Mega Evolutions were probably the best gimmicks. They were the coolest. And this might be unpopular, but I personally don't think it's a problem that not every single Pokemon had one, because that meant that the ones that got it were really unique. I think a better approach to that would be, you can only bring one Mega Evolutioning Pokemon in your team or something, that to like make it balanced or whatever. But anyway, yeah, terrestrialization in this game just as a quick rundown, it allows your Pokemon to change to a single type Pokemon, and it can be any type. Usually by default, your terrestrializing type is one of your Pokemon's existing types. So for Skeledirge, for example, when I would terrestrialize, he would terrestrialize into fire because he was fire ghost. And what that does is it makes your stab boost, your same stat attack bonus. Normally it's 1.5 times the attack power. It changes it to 2, I believe. So it makes your stab move stronger. You retain stab. So it makes your stab move for that one type stronger. And then you also retain normal stab of 1.5 for your secondary typing. But you are only weak to that primary typing that you're terrestrializing into. So if it's fire and ghost, you terrestrialize into fire, you're only going to be weak to types that fire is vulnerable against: water, ground, rock. So you lose the weakness of your secondary typing, which is nice. I think it's a much better gimmick than Gigantamaxing and Gigamaxing. That was like the dumbest thing ever, I think. I like it because there's actual gameplay consequences to it, and there's ways to build your teams and account for terrestrialization and use that as a strength or to outmaneuver your opponent. Like one of the favorite combinations I had on my team was Skeledirge. I changed his. Eventually, you can change terrestrialization types with different items that you pick up and earn and stuff. I changed his to normal, so he no longer has the weakness to ghost. He's immune to ghost, can counter ghost really well because he has, Shadow Ball and stuff, and it still has the benefit of stab. So whenever I would come across any ghost types that might be threatening, I would just terrestrialize into normal. And then I was kind of acted like I have a hard counter. So there's like different kinds of strategies you can have around that. You can only terrestrialize once in a battle, which I think is fine. Yeah, it's good. And it lasts for the entirety of until your Pokemon's knocked out. So it's not like how it was in with Gigamaxing and stuff, where I think it was 5 turns, right? But
something like that.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I thought it was fine. I didn't mind it. I think my main problem with a lot of these is like after a certain point, after I get used to it, it's kind of a chore to terrestrialize because the cutscenes are so freaking long. It's like this grand thing, and I don't mind it for the very first time I see it because it's kind of cool, right? But I wish there was an option to skip that animation or just turn off the transition after the first time or something. Because yeah, it got a little annoying. And then, in fact, I got to the point where like I never terrestrialize my Pokemon unless I absolutely had to, for the sake of avoiding the cutscene.
Okay.
So, but honestly, if the game didn't have that gimmick and it was just a gimmickless game, I'd be totally fine with that too. It really doesn't sway my opinion positive or negative by the fact that it was there.
Okay. So, better than Gigantamax, not as good as Mega Evolution. In comparison to Z moves, how are you feeling?
Can you refresh me on the mechanics of Z moves? Because it was just like a super strong move you could do, right? With the little bracelet thing.
You have
Was
to
it just a
collect the
one-time?
item, and you get it once per battle, and you just have a really, really strong move, from what I remember.
Yeah. I personally like it better than Z moves, I think. Because in my mind, Z moves is just like, oh, hey, let's just fire off a cannon in one move and blast away the opponent. Whereas this one, it like, there's more strategy and tact behind it.
Right. I think it's one of those things where people will play the game and they get really upset because because of some of the exploits that you mentioned, right? You can make the game very, very easy on yourself. And I've always thought that's kind of an interesting argument because, like, it's optional, right? Like, you don't have to. And so if it's feeling that easy, then it's like, then don't do it. You know?
Right.
Like, it seems like it's a very simple fix in my mind. And, on a competitive side, or if you're playing against other people, right, there's going to be a lot more strategy where it's going to be a boost rather than a hindrance. But anyway, I was just curious on that. Okay. And now, kind of shifting into my final couple points, let's talk about Pokemon. So I'm going to ask about Pokemon designs in general first, and then we'll talk more specifically about your team and other Pokemon that you use. But to start, Pokemon design can kind of make or break a generation of games for people. Right?
Yeah, it does for me.
It really is heavily, heavily impactful because if you end up reusing the same Pokemon that you have for multiple generations, right, that develops favorites, and that's fine. But for me, and I think you've expressed the same thing before, but on your first playthrough of a generation, I try to keep to only using Pokemon native to the region, right, that have been newly introduced. And so it's going to be a big impact. And so overall, what did you kind of think of what they produced for you this time around?
My personal rule that I like to have is if there's a because obviously there's Pokemon that we like that are our favorites. If there's a Pokemon that I used in my previous whatever Pokemon playthrough it was, or recently within the last couple, I won't put that Pokemon on my team just because, I don't know, I just want variety, right? So regardless of whether it's from that current generation or a generation prior that I had just never used in a party, that's what I like to do. I thought the Pokemon designs were fine. Like, there were some that, I didn't really care for. There were some that I thought were really cool. I will say, please, 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 please stop making starter Pokemon just go bipedal on their third or on their second evolution. Don't turn them into freaking clowns, man. Like, that was like one of the biggest disappointments of when I picked Donald Duck in Sword. I can't remember his name. I just call him Donald Duck because he's the duck Pokemon. You know what I'm talking about?
The duck's one in the duck's in this one.
Oh shoot, my bad.
Yeah.
The duck's in this one. No, I picked Sobble in Sword.
The little froggy lizard guy.
Yeah, and then
right?
he starts wearing a tuxedo and he's like a sniper and like, I'm sorry, dude, I'm gonna box you for melodic. Like, that's what I did. And then in this one, I looked up, what Donald Duck turns into, and it was such a disappointment because he turns into this little goofball. It's like kind of like a human, standing up and stuff. And the same thing with the grass cat. And the only logical choice was to like keep the Pokemon that's gonna actually like remain like a pocket monster, not be turned into like a human being after a couple revolutions. So I picked, I don't remember the pre-evolution name, the one that turns into Skeledirge. And I think that one looks really nice. Really nice. I love the design. Fire Ghost, such a sick typing. Yeah. And then, yeah, the rest were, I liked a lot of them. Some of them are like, I don't care for that. But I don't expect to be pleased by every single design in a new generation. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, I'd love to kind of get walked through it. Maybe it's something that we can throw up on the screen in post-production as well, just to make it a little bit of a clearer view for our audience. But, walk me through kind of the main 6 and then any other Pokemon that you feel like played a significant role in one way or another. If there was someone who was on the team for maybe half the game and then got boxed or something like that, just give me a general rundown of how you went through it with your Mons.
Well, my main one is Skeledirge, and as I do this, I'm gonna take some recordings and screenshots so that I can throw that up on the screen in post. It's my boy right there. Really nice, of course. The second Pokemon I captured, I needed a water type desperately. And I didn't think I would keep this one till the end, but I did. And that was Azumarill.
Okay.
The fairy typing came in clutch, and it's a surprisingly tanky Pokemon.
It is very tanky.
Yeah, I gave it Aqua Ring, which made it way more tanky. Yeah, just kind of stuck around for a while. And then the third one I got was Sawsbuck.
Okay.
A normal grass deer. The pre-evolution of this Pokemon is just so adorable. Like, so cute. Like, just for the cuteness factor alone, I need that Pokemon. And then when he evolved, it was kind of a nice surprise because I was like, okay, he's just deer. He's an animal, you know? Like, I like that. I like animals. And then depending on the region that you're in, like, his looks changes. Like, he turns into cherry blossoms, or he starts to have this like snow coat kind of thing. Really cool. Yeah, I really enjoy this Pokemon. Hits pretty hard too. And then my third one, I needed a bird.
Of course.
Every team needs a bird or flying type. And dude, Kilowattrel. What a wonderful Pokemon this is. Electric flying, man. We finally get an electric flying that's not a legendary. I guess Emolga, but Emolga doesn't count because that's not a bird.
We hate squirrels on this channel.
Yeah, man. I just love this Pokemon. I mean, I just love birds, but amazing. Flying electric, great typing too. And then my next one was Venomoth. I don't know if I've told you this before, but I am a Venomoth enjoyer. I've always enjoyed Venomoth. I've always thought that Venomoth was like one of the coolest looking Pokemon. I don't know why. I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this. I just think he's a cool looking moth. I kind of like moths. I think they're graceful. And Venomoth is literally just a venomous moth. Like, that's all he is, you know? Like, there's nothing crazy about his design, but like, I don't know. I just thought he was cool. And I'm like, I'm going to put him on my team because I just really haven't done that before. And the bug poison typing actually comes in handy. There's some pretty good like resistances and things, you know. And in this game, I don't know if he learned this move in prior games, but he learns Quiver Dance, which is crazy good. So there were a couple of gym battles where I would just set him up with 6 Quiver Dances and just sweep. And it was beautiful. And Sleep Powder too. So like you could Sleep Powder and then Quiver Dance and then just like destroy. Especially if they're a special attacker. So there's that. And then my final Pokemon is another bird, but that's not flying type. Espathra. Psychic. Psychic bird, but this bird can't fly. This is like a, what do you call it? Ostrich or emu type of animal. Sorry, Erica and I say aminal all the time just because like we think it's funny. So like sometimes it comes out when I'm not intending to say that. And it's just a solid psychic type, you know, with some fairy typing moves for coverage. And I just really, really like the design as well. So that's my team. Quite happy with them. Any questions or concerns?
Yeah, were there any others that you held around for a while and then replaced when the time came?
Honestly,
I tend to be I plan out my, especially on second or third or fourth or fifth or however many playthroughs. I'll like plan out a specific team of 6 that I'm going to use, and I won't catch any others, which I know kind of goes against the whole intention of catching Pokemon and stuff. But
I respect that. That's fine.
I'm just curious, since this was a first time around, if there were any others.
I expected to eventually replace Azumarill. Usually I know which ones I'm gonna like keep till the end. I knew I was gonna keep Kilowattrel, Venomoth, Espathra. I expected to replace either Sawsbuck or Azumarill, but I didn't because I ended up just kind of liking him, and I didn't find any other ones that came across my way that worked with the rest of the team in terms of like typing matchups and stuff and just the looks and the vibes of whatever. So, no, I actually, every single one of these that I picked up, I stuck with for the entire game, which I usually don't. I usually replace one or two of them by the time I'm getting close to end game. And I'm checking my boxes right now, and yeah, there's not a single one in here that I actively used. Yeah.
So, just a little curious, because I feel like these are types that we've talked about as being among our favorites. No steel and no ground types. Any reason behind that? Just that you didn't find any mons that you liked or wanted to switch up the type combinations you go through a game with? What was kind of the intention there?
I usually like my steel types. You know, I almost always have at least one steel type. Same with ground. I just didn't find a ground type I liked or a steel type as I was going along. And so I ended up teaching Sawsbuck Stomping Tantrum to give me that ground attack when needed. And he also resists electric, so he kind of acted as my pseudo ground type. And then steel type, yeah, I didn't find anyone right for that either, but I got coverage from other typing, you know, like Venomoth is poison, so can take care of fairy types and stuff. And so it weren't necessary and didn't find the ones that I liked enough to replace my existing members.
Yeah. Wow, there you go.
Okay.
All right. Then if you were, well, before I do my number out of 10 kind of wrap up, last question of the night, is there anything else about the game that you want to share with our listeners?
I really, really enjoyed when I played Pokemon Shield. What is it called? The Battle Tower? The post-game content. Where you could go and battle waves and waves of Pokemon or trainers, and you would get rewards for defeating, you know, however many, and those rewards you could use to, like, you know, they'd be like special items, right, that were like good for like competitive, or it'd be like the ability capsule so you can change the ability of your Pokemon and stuff. That's like the only reason why I poured so many hours into Sword. This game doesn't have anything like that. There's no real compelling post-game content aside from just doing the terrestrializing raids similar to the raids that were in Sword and Shield over and over and over again, which gets old. They do have events, so like that allow you to like catch special Pokemon when you participate in like a lot of those raids and stuff. But that's not really what I'm looking for, you know, and it gets old. So I wish there was post-game Pokemon battling content that was like near infinite, you know, that would allow you to get like rare items and stuff. The stuff that Pokemon Sword and Shield had. In fact, that's the only reason why I'm kind of done with the game. I don't think I'm gonna buy the DLC. I might. I mean, I've heard good things about the DLC. Like, I've looked it up, and a lot of people are saying that it's like one of the best Pokemon DLC. But it's also $30. So, you know, if getting the DLC means that I'm gonna get some more hours out of the game, catch some new cool Pokemon, but also, like, after I'm done with all that, there's no like true post-game content that I'm going to be able to utilize those Pokemon to like build new teams and tackle the battle tower and stuff. Like, when there isn't something like that, I just kind of lose a lot of the motivation and will to want to do it, because like I really, really enjoy battling, you know. I enjoy battling more than I enjoy just catching Pokemon. So that's what I want to do, and I want to build like cool teams and stuff. But that's not there. So, also, there are certain moves that are locked behind the DLC. Isn't that stupid? For example, Scald, one of the best water moves, right? 80 base damage, I think 30% chance to burn the opponent. I imported all of my competitively trained Pokemon from Sword and Shield into this game. And all of my water types that had the move Scald learned on them were deleted and replaced with another move. And I was like, what the crap? What's going on? So my first assumption was, oh, they must have removed the move Scald from the game. And then I look it up and I find out, no, if you buy the DLC, you can get the Scald TM and teach him again. That rubs me the wrong way, man. That really rubs me the wrong way. And it's like, I don't. There's a lot of Pokemon moves, right? If there are a few moves that are really good, that are locked behind the DLC as a TM, okay, I'm fine with that. But like, if I had a Pokemon that already knew the move and you're gonna delete it because I didn't pay $30, like, that really rubs me the wrong way. And there's a possibility that I could be misunderstanding how the import process works because this is the first time I've done anything like that, you know? So there's a chance that, oh no, you know, by default, oh, Pokemon moves, they just get shuffled around based on the level that they are or whatever. And if that's the case, then I guess, you know, what I'm complaining about doesn't really apply. But it still really bothered me that I looked up all the TMs that you get and moves that you get access to by buying the DLC, and they're all the good ones. They're all the good ones. And or a lot of them anyway, and that really bothered me. So that made me be like, okay, I'm not buying the DLC. Like, I was seriously considering it when I finished the game. I was like, oh, I want to play more Pokemon. But after I found that out, I was like, no, just based on principle alone, like, I don't want to give you $30 for that because you just, you know. Yeah. So anyway, overall, I enjoyed, I think, the base game more than I enjoyed Sword and Shield. I think it's a better open world experience than Sword and Shield is, but it's missing the post game content that Sword and Shield had, and that's a really big thing for me. A lot of people aren't going to care for it. A lot of people are just going to play through the game and be done with it. And for people like that, this is 100% better than Sword and Shield. It's just better in almost every way, honestly. When I account for the post-game stuff, the post-game battling, that makes this overall experience pretty even in terms of my experience with Sword and Shield. Because I think this is just a better game in general than Sword and Shield, but I'm just sad that I'm not going to put over 100 hours into it because I love doing that in Sword.
Okay. And then one question that I actually forgot to ask, something that I think is fairly relevant, and I can't believe I've glossed over it until this point. But Paradox Pokemon, big part of this game's marketing when it was coming out, right? In Scarlet, you've got all the ones that just look like dinosaurs and prehistoric creatures. In this one, all the futuristic robot-looking versions of of these Pokemon. Any thoughts on it?
I don't like the futuristic robot-looking ones. I just don't. I like the primitive ones way better because they look like animals. They look like creatures. The futuristic ones look like people built them, and I don't understand how evolution could possibly give a Pokemon an LCD screen as an eye. You know, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, I guess never say never, but like, how, right? It makes the world less believable. Now there's a lot of lore stuff that goes into it, you know, that makes it a little bit better. And they're not everywhere. They're in one little particular area, which just has some really cool music and environments and stuff, and it was very pretty. And some of the designs I don't really mind either. But I don't know. Yeah, I just don't like the futuristic ones, but it's just personal taste. I think the primitive looking ones are just they just work better as Pokemon because they're believable creature looking things and not robots. So, I don't really yeah. Yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
All right. Well, there you have it.
Oh, can I say the reason why I picked Violet over Scarlet if
Yeah.
I hate the future one so much? Because um Miraidon, the Pokemon that you get to like traverse around with if you play as Violet, Miraidon is like a futuristic looking one, right? And it's got like a wheel in the front and a wheel in the back. And then so literally acts as like a motorized vehicle, kind of like a little motorcycle. But if you play Scarlet, you get the primitive version of that guy who still has like the little humps in the front and the back that make it look like they're tires, but he runs around on four legs. So he looks so freaking goofy. And I was like, I'm not going to play this game for 30 hours plus and ride a motorcycle that has wheels but doesn't use wheels because it has legs. I just wasn't going to do that. So that is literally the only reason why I picked Violet.
Don't regret your choice at all.
No, I don't.
There you go.
Because man, I watched that Pokemon for hours and hours, right, as I'm traversing the world, and I don't regret that choice. But yeah, that is the only reason.
All right.
Yep.
Out of 10.
Mm, 7.
Okay.
Yeah. Which isn't bad. I had a good time. There's a reason why I finished the game. But it did make me think. Because here's the thing, I heard a lot of positive things about this game, man. Like a lot of positive things, and even before the Switch 2 came out. So when the Switch 2 came out, and I found out that it has like a lot of performance improvements on this game. By the way, let me touch on that real quick. There were some glitches, a couple of glitches, some just graphical things, and I'll put that up on the screen right now. Not a deal breaker, not the worst thing. It was basically, from what I could see, steady 60 FPS the entire time, very smooth, very nice. Yeah, so performance wise, if you have the Switch 2, it's not really an issue. But like there are just certain things that are just it just seems lazy. So like for example, take Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom or Xenoblade or any game that also has huge landscapes, walls and cliffs you can climb up and down. When you look at those walls, and patches of grass and just the textures that are pasted on the environment, it looks natural, right? In this game, and there's a lot of cliffs and walls, right? Because that's one of the things I talked about that kind of acts as like a soft block toward going to certain regions too early. Um, it's just like this texture tile repeated over and over and over. So like I look at it and it's like, oh, this is they just put that low res texture on and just repeated it for this entire cliff. Like it does not look good, man. It does not look good. Yeah. Yeah. So like performance is fine, but like just in terms of how the world is created and presented and put together, like the textures, it's lazy looking in a lot of areas. So, um, yeah, I don't even remember what I was saying before I brought this whole graphics thing up. But yeah. Um. Okay, yeah, I remember. Sorry. Playing this game. Okay, there was a lot of hype, right? A lot of people loved it. Everyone I spoke to that had played this game told me it was really good and that they really liked it, and it's like one of the best they've ever played. Maybe my expectations were too high, but after playing this, it made me be like, okay, I think I'm done with Pokemon for a while. Um, because a lot of the things that I want, like level scaling, decent post game content, like these are all things that are found on freaking ROM hacks, man. And it honestly made me want to just like go play a ROM hack. Um, yeah, just like an Emerald ROM hack or something.
So, Legend ZA is off the table.
Honestly, I don't think I'm getting it day one anymore. I don't think I'm getting it day one anymore. Like I planned on it. I wanted to buy it day one. But after this, I'm like, um, it's a good game, but in 2025, after how many times they've been able to iterate on this franchise, like this is where we are. Um, and I don't know, it kind of saddened me that like the fan base is just totally okay with it. Um, so I don't know. I'm losing confidence in the developer, honestly. So I did really like Legends Arceus or whatever. Uh, I thought I don't know. So I will probably eventually play Legends Zaw, but I'm kind of burnt out on Game Freak right now. So I don't think I'll be playing it this year. So I'll have to hear what you think about it when you play it eventually.
I
Are you not getting it?
I don't plan on buying
Oh,
anything. No, like here's the thing, right? Like with where my life is currently at.
you're a busy man.
Do I want to play a Pokemon game based off of a region that I can't, if I ever played through, can't remember playing or borrowing for someone? I definitely never owned X or Y. I just, yeah, like, if I'm gonna be playing a game, like, it's not that right now.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. Um, I do want to say though, like I'm sounding like a total downer on this game. I enjoyed the game. I had a good time. In fact, let's see how many hours I put into this thing.
I'm gonna say 50.
50. Oh, you were there. 45 hours or more. So I did put a good chunk of time in this game and I had fun. I just I kind of have a theory also that I've been thinking about this, and maybe this is a whole topic for another episode, but I wonder if my standards are way higher. Actually, I think they are. I'm pretty sure they are. I know they are way higher than when I was a child. So when I was a child, my standards are low. So then I play all those Pokemon games. I love every single one of them, and then I grow up, my expectations get higher. Things move to 3D, things move to open world. I'm expecting more and more. I play the game, I'm disappointed. Um, I think that kind of thing happens a lot in media in general. Also, you don't, the stuff you play as a child, you have the nostalgia factor and stuff. So I just want to say that, like, my subpar opinion of this game is not a reflect. I'm not saying this is a bad game, right? 7 out of 10 is still a good game. It's a good game. And for most people, I would recommend this over Sword and Shield. And if you're a Pokemon fan, you like Pokemon, I think you'll like this game. Just keep in mind that, for people that enjoy competitive Pokemon like myself doesn't have post-game content. It's a little rough around the edges in the presentation, but performance is fine if you have the Switch 2. And there's generally some cool Pokemon in here. And, I mentioned to say this, but I think the story in this game is better than most. So, yeah, one of the 3 paths that you go, one kind of has some story and lore behind it. And that one was kind of, I really liked it. I liked how it ended and the ending of it. And it was pretty, it was good. It was better than most Pokemon. So I will give it that the story is, I think, pretty good. But I wonder what Game Freak would be able to do or would do if they were forced to go back to 2D Pokemon and innovate on that. Because they really seem to be struggling with 3D. And the state of this game is years behind what open world games are doing today. I mean, it's behind what? I mean, Skyrim came out in 2011, and that's that's a really high hurdle to compare to, because that's like one of the best open world games ever made. But you get what I'm saying. So it's a good game, but just keep in mind the things I said. If they're not deal breakers to you, I would recommend it. If you already have the game, you have a team, and you want to challenge me to a battle, hit me up.
Thank you to our beautiful, beautiful Patreon viewers. We have... Do you want to do it?
Yeah! For our Down Earth Cockatiels, we have Joshua, Matthew, and Tyler. Thank you very much. And for our Down Earth Parakeets, we've got Jay Maurer, Nicholas, and Noah. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. And we will talk to you next time.
If you have anything you want to hear us talk about, let us know.
Yeah, join the Discord. It's a great place.
Like beyond audience questions. Keep sending audience questions. I love, opening episodes with that. But if you want like a full length episode on a certain topic, throw it at us. We'll do our best with what we can.
And we do reserve the right to veto, because the topic has to be whatever we envision this podcast to be. But especially if you're a Patreon members, remember that there are channels dedicated to you that you only have access to in the Discord, where you are able to send in suggestions and requests. See ya.
Bye-bye.